everybody, to a new episode of First and Last, the podcast that gives me an excuse to drink during the weekday. I am Josh, and I'm with Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
I'm Jimmy, and I party.
Nice. I'm also Jimmy, and I party.
You're not. I know for a fact.
This is not a movie podcast. Today we are doing the TV show Community.
Wait, tell them what we do.
I was gonna do that in a second.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself.
All right.
They already know. They've clicked the link. It says Community on it in the title.
That's fair. Yeah, that was like a pre-spoiler, so I already messed up. All right. Well, okay. What we do.
It's a great week so far.
So First and Last is a podcast where us three watch the very first episode of a TV show and the very last episode of a TV show, and in the middle of those two episodes, we kind of talk about what we thought, predict what we think is going to happen, and then once we've watched the last one, then we discuss what we got wrong, what we got right, and just kind of our overall thoughts on that TV show. I just want to see how many times I can say TV show there.
Yeah, and we laugh and we learn about each other and, grow closer as friends.
Yeah.
That's really what this is about, I think.
It's the journey.
It's just three antisocial people trying to pretend like we're social.
It's just an excuse to order tacos every week.
Yeah.
Except we're not ordering tacos this week.
No. Not until Taco Category is to sponsor us.
Yeah.
The presenting sponsor, needs to be a place that we support.
Yeah.
That's the word.
And they need to return our calls first.
Joe's been harassing them a lot.
They won't even take our orders anymore.
Well, today we're doing Community. And before we get into it, because I want Joe to talk about this a little bit, because it was your idea to do this show. I think you know the most about it. Not that you know a lot about it, but I'm super excited about this.
Yeah. So this will be kind of a different episode. So I suggested this because this is like one of my favorite shows of all time.
Oh, okay.
And I've seen a bunch of times. I haven't seen the last season so much because that was on Yahoo and I kind of watched it once and I was just sort of like, all right, I guess that show's done now.
Does it have the Scrubs mentality where I don't know if you watch Scrubs at all, but it was on whatever station it was on for a long time, and then it moved stations.
Yeah.
Oh, is that why the last season's so messed up?
I just never, when it moved, I just never watched it. I've never seen the end of Scrubs.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah,
I've seen a ton of Scrubs.
It was weird. But yeah, it was kind of like that where it switched and it was still funny, but it was just kind of different. And I was like, okay, I guess that's a part of my life that's done now. But Community started in 2009, run by Dan Harmon.
That's why I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because I love Dan Harmon. Dan Harmon, if you're listening.
We know you are.
I love you. Not in a weird, I want to, make, things out of your hair love, but,
Now that you've said it, he knows that that's what it is.
There's a catch-22. You're not you can't be crazy if you know you're crazy, but if you know you're not crazy.
Yeah.
I messed up saying the catch-22. It's a great book, though. I suggest everyone reads it. But he started Harmontown, so the reason why I kind of know about Community is I started listening to Harmontown because he created it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan Harmon.
He's not gonna
tweet us back.
Well, he can. You know what he can do? He can call me. My phone number. No, it's just a big long. But I'll give it to you, Dan. But he started it because he got fired in some season, season 4.
He started Harmontown because he got fired. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe not. Maybe because he just had time. I don't want to say it was a direct whatever. But so he was really salty when he started Harmontown. It was great, and it's. I listen to it to this day, and this is years later, so it's still great. Yeah. So I just like him, and obviously, who doesn't like Rick and Morty?
Right, that's kind of what Dan Harmon is known for now, is Rick and Morty, which is a big hit. Yeah,
which is funny. It's just so I've seen a couple episodes of Community, but I'm more interested in the man, the legend, the Harmon. So now I want to.
It's intriguing, yeah. The town itself, because there was 6 seasons total of Community. and it was like first 3 were like run by Dan Harmon on NBC, and then he got fired for season 4, and they've just brought in some dudes. It was like the dudes from that like ran Just Shoot Me, and they had them run Community for a season.
Hey, Just Shoot Me wasn't the worst show.
I remember it not being terrible.
I watched it, so
yeah.
David Spade.
David Spade, yeah.
They just brought in some like steady hands to like kind of guide the ship, and then they brought back Dan Harmon, I think from just like fan pressure, and I think like Joel McHale had something to do with it too for season 5. And then they canceled it. And then it went to Yahoo for another season, and then that was it.
Which is outrageous.
I feel like at the height of Community, Joel McHale was like either really, really big, or like he thought he was so big that it like pressured us as the viewers to think he was bigger than he was. I think he's like funny on Community. Like the couple episodes I've seen, I think he's funny. I saw him host like a Game Awards show one time, and it just seemed like he was making fun of everybody, and it was like kind of funny, and it wasn't his fault because like the way that they did it was like really awkward. Like it was just like him in a big open quiet room. Like there wasn't an award show. And it was just like really awkward.
Well, like, have you seen him on like The Soup?
Yeah, I remember him from The Soup.
Because I
liked him on The Soup.
That's him just like burning things, but you do have like the crew and stuff like laughing at the jokes like right after, and it's not just silent.
There was like 4 people at the video game award thing they did that I clapped, but it was like that huge empty hallway hollow clap. I thought it was great. But so yeah, it went for 6 seasons, first 5 on NBC, and then the 6th one was on Yahoo. But they had the Harm back, so we'll see if that helps.
We'll see. Jimmy, what do you know about it?
Yeah. Basically, I just knew that it was on NBC and then got canceled and went to Yahoo because how ridiculous is that the show was going on Yahoo.
But like you've seen a few episodes or like...
I had not seen a single episode, I don't think. At least not a full episode.
If you had to take a guess at what the premise is...
Yeah, what's Community about?
Well, okay, so I know that it's like community college, right?
Okay.
And I know that Chevy Chase is involved.
Okay.
And I know that Donald Glover's involved because those are my 2 favorite people.
Number 1, number 2, Chevy Chase and Donald Glover.
I won't tell you which order though. That's for the end of the show. Listen in to find out.
All right.
I'm making a prediction right away that Jimmy's number 1 is Chevy Chase, but it should be Donald Glover. That's my first prediction.
Solid.
All right, stay tuned.
Okay.
I honestly think that's really it. I think there's it seems like a show that has like a lot of characters and a lot of following of different characters around, maybe like a Game of Thrones type, but at a community college.
Yeah,
That's
I've definitely heard people describe it as Game of Thrones at a community college.
Less sex and death. It's on NBC, so no biscuit, Tim.
I challenge you, Joe, before the end of this show to reference an actual site where someone wrote down it's like Game of Thrones, but at a community college.
Yep.
Do
you know anything beyond that about the show?
I mean, I know the whole... I essentially know the whole premise. So I wanted to know what like Jimmy thought. I think I've seen the first episode before, but I don't really know. Jimmy, what do you think's going to happen in the first episode?
In the first episode?
This is great. Going in completely blind. You were 100% right about the things that you said. What you thought it was.
Okay. I assume it's like enrollment day, or at a community college, and we slowly introduce all these wild characters.
I have a fun question. How do you think the characters are connected? There's a bunch of wild characters and they're connected somehow.
I assume that they are in similar classes.
Okay.
Or they're all in like classes with each other at some point. But what I feel like Community is like 30 Rock. But just at a community college. Like everyone's in
there's
different
lots of things
shows
going on. Okay.
and stuff, but they're all linked by this common thing. Maybe the calf. Maybe they circle around the...
The main part of the show is they all eat lunch together.
Okay.
That's what I think.
I like that idea.
Do you actually know if that's right or wrong? Or
yes.
Okay.
Which I don't want to say anything until we watch the first episode. But like I don't have a clue where it's gonna go at all. I do know.
To Yahoo.
I do know
That's where it goes.
and maybe I don't know, but I think I do. I know like one of the main characters that doesn't exist anymore in the show near the end, so I won't use it as prediction.
Okay.
I'll just leave that out when I do. But then once we get there, I'll say what I know.
All right.
But I don't really. But I just know they're basically their common connection, and then, it's just probably a show with shenanigans, but. Dan Harmon's a good storyteller, so I know there's gonna be a lot of good stories and like things that are happening, and there's rich characters in it. So like I know this is gonna have like a direction, and it's gonna end correctly. I think, or whatever correctly means. It's gonna end well. I'm just excited, guys.
I'm very excited. I love this show.
I'm just excited because I mean, if I've seen the first episode, it was forever ago, so I'll relearn it. I just know kind of the basics, and I definitely haven't seen more than 5 episodes of Community ever, and there's 110 of them.
Yeah.
So I am under 1%, 10%. How did math work?
Are you looking at me? I didn't have to take
math?
real math
You
in
didn't
college.
do math either?
I had to take it was basically 7th grade math. It was a joke.
All right.
Well, because this show came in 2009, so that was the height of The Office and 30 Rock being hits, and I think Parks and Rec just starting up maybe. So they're kind of hoping Parks and Rec and this could kind of be their next set of hits. It didn't quite turn out that way, but
I mean,
it's got a cult following.
I feel like it ran strong for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe Dan Harmon's the like the Joss Whedon of TV in a little way of like Buffy was a huge cult hit kind of thing. It maybe not have done well, and if you've seen he did another show called Dollhouse.
Yeah.
And he did Firefly, and if you actually watch those shows, they're fucking amazing.
Sure.
They're really good.
It didn't last.
But they didn't last
as long as Buffy.
So you're saying Dan Harmon should direct Avengers Infinity Wars?
Yeah, yes. I'm saying I'm saying Joss Whedon's TV stuff that I thought was really good. I loved Buffy.
Yeah.
I didn't really watch Angel, but that's just because I think I watched 9 seasons of Buffy and then I couldn't jump right into Angel. I had to take a vampire break, and it's been 10 years. But that, I think he's probably underappreciated for TV, but for real TV. Not saying but then there's Rick and Morty, which is a cartoon, which is definitely real TV, but if there's a TV show like that with story like that, I think it would a real live action one, it would probably be underappreciated.
Sure.
I mean,
because it'd be weird.
Yeah, it'd be oh, this is not I don't know. I don't think anyone would say, "Which this is a cartoon." They would just not like it, and then they would be off air for 2 years, and then people would be like, "What the fuck is that? I want it so bad!"
Right.
So that's my prediction is that this show is underappreciated, except for the season that Dan Harmon's on it. I bet that season sucks ass.
There was of that season. There was one episode that I really liked, but then otherwise it sucked. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, we're gonna watch the first episode, and Jimmy is gonna learn math. So we'll see you when we are done with that.
Google Math.
People, we are back from episode 1 of Community, and I kind of I can't talk right now. I kind of want to ask Jimmy what he thought right away.
Just in general.
Yeah, let's stay general for now.
Yeah, you can say general because you're the only person that has no real thoughts about the show going into it.
It has great potential. I think that's what I think from watching that. Love young. That's definitely got to be the youngest I've ever seen Donald Glover.
Yeah.
And he was awesome. So I'd be excited to go and watch a lot more of him. Also Abed. What is it? That's Danny
Pudi.
Pudi. Awesome. Love him. Loved him in Powerless, which was a failed show this last season.
Yeah, it's an NBC show, right?
It was an NBC DC kind of spin-off, but there's no real DC comic heroes or villains in it.
Yeah, I heard about that show and I didn't even try
They
to watch
reference like Batman. It's fun. And Alan Tudyk?
Probably Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk, he's in it and he's great. Anyway, it was great. So I was excited. I didn't know that he was in this, that Danny Pudi was in this. And anyway, I laughed a lot. And
it's funny.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
I think just like to give a once-over of the plot. So this first episode we meet all of the study group, but primarily we meet Jeff, who is a former lawyer who found out that his bachelor's degree is not legitimate, so that's why he's at a community college.
I like that you say he found out.
He found out. No, he knew the whole time.
He
got found out.
He got found out.
So now he's at a community college to get a bachelor's degree, and he's super into this hot chick from Spanish class, so he starts a study group, and he starts a fake study group, really just to meet this girl, but then Abed, who's kind of an eccentric, like, Asperger's-y,
kind of
like, guy,
man.
like, ends up inviting other people to the study group, and there's this cast of characters, and they get involved with the group, and Britta tells him that if this group ends up not being tutorable, then you can take me on a date or go to dinner with me. And then so Jeff kind of injects some things to get them to kind of fight each other, and then Britta says, still not going to happen, and then at the end they kind of come back together, and there's a subplot where like Jeff is going to figure out he's going to like buy all the answers to all the tests for his classes, but it doesn't work out.
From John Oliver.
Yeah. So then he figures that he actually does need the study group to help him, and then they decide to take him back in, and that's where the show leaves us at the end of the first episode.
Turn the tables on.
Can I give you my synopsis?
Yeah.
And it's kind of an overview of what I think this whole show is about, but
Okay.
like also then what this first episode is about.
Okay.
This show is about a shitty person trying to get everything that he wants in the laziest way possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so he spends the whole episode trying to cheat and lie, and then it doesn't work out, and then he'll learn that being himself will pay off. It'll be this show is going to become like a coming of age story about a middle-aged man.
For a 30-year-old man.
That's what this is going to be.
That's very interesting.
That's what I got out of this whole thing.
Because that's definitely a good description of like where Jeff starts as a character, is where everything has just kind of come easy for him. So he just sort of does what he does, and he lies, and he talks well, and he even uses his looks and charm to like just get whatever he wants. And in this world, it maybe doesn't work out quite like that.
Can I give you my quick synopsis?
Yes.
Game of Thrones at a community college.
Yes.
Nailed it.
May the odds be ever in your favor. That's not the right thing.
That's a stand.
May the
tribute.
The winter is coming to Greendale.
I volunteer as tribute to go to community college.
I mean, just like some, like, because I've seen the show a bunch of times, but like some things that I noticed this time is that like, as a network sitcom pilot, like it's very important to just like plant the seeds of like, especially if you're going to introduce a bunch of characters, like who these characters are. And I feel like every line in this pilot like serves to build character. Like there's no like throwaway jokes. Like every joke like is a joke on how this character acts. Like even in that big speech that Jeff does where he kind of describes each person, like they're not just jokes. It's like it's giving you a little bit of seed of like Shirley is like a mother character who has kind of a dark side, and like Pierce is like a character who thinks he knows things and thinks he should be respected, but really is like kind of a joke. And like they just like plant all those seeds. Everything in this, every line in the show like is funny, but it also just like serves to like build these characters, and it's not just a throwaway. something I noticed this time around.
Yeah, well, because whenever you, like, second or third episode of First and Last, when you were, like, talking about the building of how, like, the building of how, like, a pilot works, so then I think about that all the time of, like, I think this did a really good job of, like, showcasing everybody. Like, it did, like you just said, it did a really good job of, like, showcasing at least pieces of who all of these characters are, and it really fast. Like, Annie didn't talk like that much, but like she's the neurotic kind of crazy girl, and like
she's the white girl.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
And you know, like Chevy Chase's character Pierce is like the high and mighty white man, like, but he's like just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's like that not that much there. It's a 27-minute pilot, but just like everybody gets like a little bit, and it just like gives you that much character development.
Yeah. So I mean, it's true. Nothing is really wasted in this, and I like that a lot. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And then it ends like, and that's why, like, you know, like my thing of like a shitty person does this, and then that's why it's a coming of age, because it turns around in the end of all of them are like, he's like, I need help, and they're like, we'll help you, and then it goes in. So then it already gives this thing of like, this is a group dynamic of this group's gonna like be together and they're gonna like lift each other up, kind of thing. But the main character is Joel McHale's character, Jeff.
Yeah.
And so like I already know, I quote unquote know, I know like it's about, the show's about the study group and like whatever they have to deal with together, but like in general, ultimately, and I assume they're gonna like have each other's backs.
Sure.
Yeah.
Until
unlikely friends.
Yeah.
Like every great story.
So like this concept came to Dan Harmon when he was like, I don't know the details of it, but like somehow he ended up back at a community college because he had to take some classes, and like initially like decided he was too good to be there, but then like met some people and decided that he would just kind of go with the flow. And that's kind of where this leads into, like, Jeff is kind of that analog for that.
Number one, Dan Harmon, call me if that's right or wrong, and I'll tell Joe. I'll let you talk to Joe if you want to. That's cool. Number two, he was too good to be there, probably. He's from, like, Milwaukee. And, I mean, we're in Minneapolis, so we understand the Midwest, so... I'm sure there's always a part of us at some point
rivalry.
we're like,
He's from Milwaukee.
we could leave.
Boo the Brewers, though. That's all.
Yeah, Dan Harmon, if you want to like come hang out and like go to like if you want to close down what's that bar that's like just a house?
You're talking about Milwaukee?
Yeah, Milwaukee.
I don't know anything about Milwaukee, so.
Wolski's. If you want to come get a beer at Wolski's with me, let's do it. Man.
Yeah, if you want to do something with Joe, call me.
Yeah, because you're a Marquette guy, so you're
Wolski's is this bar in
Milwaukee
where it's literally like it's in a residential district, and it's literally like someone's house that they just like converted the main floor into a bar.
Is it like a co-op, like hipster vibe?
No,
or like...
I mean it's just like a towny, like out of nowhere vibe. It's just like bunch of houses, and then you like end up in this house, and it's just a bar, and then they pass out
like
bumper stickers that say,
allow.
yeah, it seems very illegal, but they hand out stickers that say like I closed Wolski's, and that's how they
kind
of spread the word.
That's fun.
Wonderful.
It's they got cheap beers and darts, so that's fun.
If I ever accidentally
That's
find
all of our
myself
needs.
in Milwaukee, I'll definitely try to close down Wolski's.
I promise, like I would not be able to find Wolski's without Google Maps. Like I have no idea what street it's on or where
Is
it
it
is.
near?
Well,
the
luckily, unless we find ourselves in a time warp, I think we'll be fine. Or, the incoming apocalypse occurs before we make it to, Milwaukee.
Bring us to Milwaukee for sure.
But I mean, that's possible because I don't know. I don't know. I don't have my bus ticket booked or flights. Is there an airport in Milwaukee?
Milwaukee has an airport? General Mitchell, for sure, man. I've never been there, but it exists.
Okay.
Okay. Predictions?
Oh, man.
Jimmy, I want Jimmy to go first.
Okay, well, so, man, not going into this not knowing anything, my predictions are basically just on the different characters that we saw.
Yeah, that's
literally.
the point. That's how the show's supposed to work.
I mean, right, but I just feel behind the 8 ball on this one. I feel like you guys. I feel like I just know nothing. I literally wrote Annie with a dash, like waiting to write notes about this white girl, and I wrote nothing because
Annie.
I feel like she was
prediction.
so I feel like my first prediction is that Annie, just by the 5th season, she's maybe like abducted. Maybe she's just gone. She's a throwaway. She's a nobody.
Also, I just want to point out, we are watching the 6th season of the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought you said the 5th season. For some
Oh, right, because it was 5 seasons on NBC.
Yeah, we will be watching.
We're watching the Yahoo
yeah.
even more, so that like it's on a different network now. Things have probably changed up. I think Annie's gone.
Kind of a throwaway character.
Kind of throwaway.
I'll throw that on there as well. I think she's gone too.
Okay.
But I think she's gone because she's on Mad Men. But she's
damn
not.
it.
But she's not.
She is on Mad Men.
But she's also. She's not.
That's
a big,
AMC though. That could be totally different.
Right. Well, she's not a big character
And
on
who
Mad Men.
knows how?
And I don't know.
Yahoo
And I don't
works, for
really
God's
know my
sake.
timeline as well.
Mad Men had already started by the time that Community had started.
But she wasn't on Mad Men in the first season at all. I don't think. Because she
I
was
haven't seen Mad Men.
She was one of the
Well-
guys. She was just one. She was.
That's on the list.
One of
She
the dudes' wives.
Yeah, one of the dude's wives, but she only showed every once in a while, and she was very rare, like on it.
Sure.
But she was on it. I just I kind of find like Alison Brie like a step above. Like Chevy Chase is in this show,
Not Brie Larson.
not Brie Larson. I want to always say I recognize them as humans completely differently, and definitely they're.
Love Brie Larson.
I love Alison Brie.
As
And
much-
Brie
as
and
much
Brie
as
Larson.
Brie Larson.
I love Alison Brie Larson. They're both great.
I almost just spit my White Claw.
But I just kind of I kind of recognized her for some reason as like she was the one that was like maybe going places.
Sure.
More so in this whole cast, like Chevy Chase was done. He was just like the big name that everyone had known, because,
Sure.
but he was the old actor.
Yeah.
Joel McHale. I mean,
Was he in something before this? Was he a well-known person at this point?
The Soup.
The Soup. I mean,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Part of me thinks Joel McHale thinks he was better than this, but this is what he had.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But I mean, whatever. Like, you know, I mean,
Sure.
he's a comedian and he's got that air, so it's
Yeah,
that's
it's
either
tough.
him or that's
The
his.
character that he
I
plays.
mean, I personally think Joel McHale is great, but I haven't really seen him in that many things.
But no, I think he's great too. But I just I don't know if he thinks he's like that kind of thing.
Wait, so do you think Joel McHale is here by the end or no?
Yeah, I think he's the main
Okay,
character, and
okay.
I think he's in the whole show.
Okay.
So I
I
think
disagree.
is that your next prediction?
Yeah. Jeff, who, by the way, Joel McHale, I wrote down Seacrest before Donald
they make a joke
Glover
about Seacrest.
calls him Seacrest, because Donald Glover, and I hope this, and this is maybe another prediction, I'm writing it down now, that Troy is still there, who's Donald Glover, and that he's still calling people great nicknames.
Okay.
All right, that's fair. Do you have any other ones then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Were we ready for those?
Yeah,
Can I write? Okay.
We're gonna bowl.
Fine.
We're gonna bowl through
Uh,
yours.
My last one is just that. So, I love my guy Chevy. I love Donald. You know, I don't. I think maybe Chevy Chase should have stopped acting before Community. But I mean, sure, that's like the character that they want him to be. He's the douche. He's the old guy who's full of himself, and so you're not really supposed to really like him that much yet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that develops, but I just think that he's probably dead. That he's just because of old age.
So you think he's dead gone?
I think maybe like season 5 on NBC's wrapping up, and they know that it's closing, and he just dies, and there's a great like funny funeral episode, and then maybe his ghost
Okay.
is in the final episode of season 6.
Do you think it's
Chevy's
becomes
ghost.
a fantasy show, a sci-fi the community because of sci-fi horror,
It could have a cross.
or like the last
genre.
episode is like the Christmas special, but that's the last episode where they do the Ghost of Christmas Past and Present, and Chevy Chase is one of
He's
those
just-
for Joel McHale.
So kind of like a funny aside about Chevy Chase's character is that there's some like story that I think like maybe Dan Harmon told in Harmontown or something about Chevy Chase when he was like reading about his character and like reading the script. He was saying that like, oh, this like older guy should be kind of like a ladies' man because he has so much experience and has so much money. He should be kind of a ladies' man, and I would love to play a ladies' man. And then he told that to the writers, and the writers are sort of like, yeah, okay. And then they wrote him as like as an old guy who thinks he's a ladies' man but isn't.
Which I think that's actually just who Chevy Chase is.
Yeah, they're just like, whatever, Chevy.
That's pretty good.
Wonderful.
I'll do mine.
Yeah.
I said mine. I don't think Alison Brie's there like Jimmy. My other one is Jeff.
Okay.
Joel's character. He works at the school.
Seacrest.
Okay. Yeah, that's fun.
Because it's 6 seasons, which means he was at community college for
John Oliver's
that's a good way to think
position.
How are they still around?
Right.
Yep.
So I think his character works at the school now.
Okay.
And then just my third one is there's a will they there just will be the whole time. There's a will they won't they with Britta and Jeff.
Okay. Sure.
And
Hot Spanish.
And my prediction is even if they did, at the end they won't. So they're like, so even in the last episode, there's still like a will they won't they, and it will not pay off.
But they don't. Okay.
Because it's a Dan Harmon show, or are you just saying because it's?
I've never seen Dan Harmon end a show. I only know Community and Rick and Morty's still going.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I just don't think like logically they're two people that like really would be together.
Sure.
But their chemistry and fighting on a sitcom works perfectly.
Yeah.
But I think Dan Harmon would write them logically in a way of like being like, like maybe they really want to be like, maybe like one of them really wants, maybe one of them is super into each other, like them, but like together as a cohesive unit, they're not.
Well, the thing is, Dan Harmon is so aware of these like sitcom tropes and like even injects it into his shows that like yeah, I could see like, oh, maybe like they're just not going to do that because the viewers would expect that to be a thing.
Mm-hmm. But I also think he's like a writer and potentially like a tortured soul in some ways, and are like just what an artist of some sort.
Yeah.
But like. You still want like a happy ending, and I think he still kind of does want happy endings, because like who doesn't? So having them get together is a happy ending in that terms. But I just don't. From the 25 minutes of this show that I saw just now, I don't think that.
Okay.
So, but I think it'll be like kind of like mulled over in the last episode, but it's not happening.
Okay. Having seen this, and knowing what kind of goes on, I don't exactly remember this 6th season that well, but I kind of remember the trajectory of the show. I kind of want to like lightning round some things, and I want you to answer if they're still a thing by the end or not.
Ooh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Do you have these things written down?
No, this is something I thought of 5 seconds ago.
Right.
Edit it out if it doesn't work.
No. I just want you to remember them. That's why.
Sure. Okay.
Keep going.
So let's start general. Greendale as a community college. Do you think it's a thing that still exists in the show?
I do, because I think he works there.
Jimmy?
Man, that's tough, because I'm going back to thinking about Scrubs now, and
this
they're
is
in
a
a whole
lightning
different
round,
world.
Jimmy.
Okay, I'm gonna say no.
You say no. They just blow up the community college and they're on to a different
I think that it's season 6. God, I hope they have their 2-year or whatever community degrees by then. I think as Greendale exists probably somewhere, but I think maybe the show revolves around something
other
else.
things. Okay. We saw John Oliver in this premiere. Do you think he's a thing?
God, I hope so. But I think
Jimmy
no.
hopes, but says no.
I want to say he makes it a cameo.
Okay. What about Jeff's whole law career? Do you think that matters by the end?
No.
Yeah, I think he's graduated, but I don't think he's in law school at this point. I think he's maybe found some other thing.
some other way to practice law. Or Josh, you said he was a teacher, I think.
I just kind of thought he works at the school. I'm just trying to think of a way of keeping the school around.
Yeah, I think maybe he has some convictions about his former life. Maybe he's learned something in these past 6 years.
I still think
works for a non-profit somewhere.
No, you're wrong there. He's still a piece of shit. Like, he's a piece of shit, like, in his core. But I think he's like a piece of shit that has like kind of like an aura around him now that he kind of understands that he's a piece of shit. So he tries not to be. So he's just like
be a lawyer.
So he's like pee instead of shit now. Like he's still like not great, but he's like
getting there.
But because he's just a naturally smart, charismatic human, and therefore like people like him.
Okay.
Until he's a piece of shit, and I think that's just who he is the whole time. And I think he grows from it, but I still think he's core just. Yeah. He's just core, not like a human.
What about right now? They're taking Spanish 101. Do you think Spanish factors into the end at all?
No.
Jimmy?
Gosh, that'd be really funny.
It's a lightning round,
Jimmy. But I don't think so.
Okay. What about do you think there's an octopus monster by the end here?
Oh, if this is the show that you got that from,
I hope.
For the record,
Jeremy Piven gets his big break at the end.
Yes.
I always hope there's an octopus monster. I'm always rooting for you to get that point, Joe.
Jeez.
Well, I couldn't this time because I can't even make predictions. But both you were saying no on the octopus monster.
Goodness, I mean, does a drawing of an octopus monster count to you? Like,
it is Yahoo, so anything can happen.
Right. But
maybe Cheryl becomes what's her name? Sherry? Susan?
Shirley.
Yeah. Maybe she becomes an octopus monster.
Okay. I like twists.
So I say no, and Jimmy says
Shirley
becomes an
Actress Octavia Spencer.
Cool.
She becomes.
All right. Well, I guess we're ready for the last episode, aren't we?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
Animal House. A reference my ears applaud.
I couldn't resist. Smashing the guitar of someone singing a glowing love song was on my quintessential college experience list.
Your what?
It's a list of everything that movies have taught me comprises a successful first year at college.
Bond with a group of lovable misfits.
Check.
Take on the school bully.
Check.
Make out with the hottest girl on campus.
Check a Rooney.
We're back from watching the end of Community. And dear Lord, I knew this was not going to be bad, and I was correct. It was so good.
It was way better than I did not give Dan Harmon enough credit at all.
You son of a bitch.
Well, okay, it's not. It wasn't. It wasn't because I was thinking Dan Harmon. I'm just thinking Yahoo TV show.
Yeah, right. Like, what does that even mean?
I still don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Has there been another one?
It doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I don't know of any show that's on Yahoo, and I've never seen a Yahoo show on Yahoo. That's for sure.
All right.
So the basic premise of that episode is that in the beginning scene, they finish whatever they were doing. It doesn't even matter. It was just some sort of Save Greendale project that they were doing, and they finish it, and then they spend the rest of the episode thinking about oh, this is season 6 of our friendship / show, what would happen in season 7, and they all kind of share what they think might happen in season 7, and it flashes into not flashbacks, but flash sideways of the characters doing what a certain character
just
would expect them to do. Yeah.
I said alternate reality episode / dream of season 7.
Yeah. They kind of imagine what would happen in season 7 because it's the end of season 6, but in the end they kind of decide that maybe this is the end and this is how it should end, and maybe we don't need to keep dreaming about season 7, maybe we just move on.
It's a thing that I think God, number one, we haven't said Frasier yet this episode. But it's a thing that
I feel like we mentioned the biscuit.
Not enough Frasier has happened yet this episode. Maybe you think that though it's because when you guys walked into my apartment to record, I was watching Frasier.
Oh,
right. So you think I would do that.
Right.
But the thing I'm saying about that is the very first Frasier, and then just this one out of all the shows that we've done are the two that I think have conveyed a sense of connection with characters and comedy like the two things that I think people maybe connect the most with, like they like maybe just using comedy and then getting serious is a really maybe I'm learning that might be a really good way of like building a story and making people like characters to like be funny but then get serious and do stuff.
Did Dan Harmon create Frasier?
It all leads back to Frasier.
Frasier.
I could see it.
That's
all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I can't.
I'm not ruling it.
I can't answer that with a real. I can't do that. So I don't want to dismiss anything Frasier did because it was fantastic. But like, I think these two that Frasier and this episode are the two that like seeing the first episode and seeing the last is a proof of like knowing that I don't need any context at all between the whole story. I don't need the journey.
Yeah.
Because if you're like write so well and if you write good characters and you understand how to make people connect with like people with like other like people within like a little bit of time, like the beginning and the end, like I know how they started and I know how they end and I care about it.
Sure.
And I cared about like
see that, yeah.
these people. I didn't care about random white lady who was like in charge of the committee.
Yeah.
I cared about Keith David a little bit because Keith David was in this show.
Yeah. Maybe we should go over like who the characters were by the end because we still have Jeff, who's the main guy kind of running it, and then we still have Annie and Britta.
Yep. And Abed.
Abed.
Annie was not abducted.
So. No, it's not.
Or not on Mad Men still.
But then Chevy Chase as Pierce is gone. And Donald Glover as Troy is gone. And Shirley
That makes me so sad.
is gone. And they're replaced by Ben Chang, Senior Chang. Who
Is that Ken Jeong's character?
Yeah, Ken Jeong's character.
Okay. I don't know his character's name at all. I just know
Ken Chang.
I just know
The brunette lady, whose name I don't know.
she was so whatever to me anyway.
Is she just a season 6 maybe?
Just season 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of think she was I kind of think she's even supposed to be a whatever character because she even made like comments like defacing comments of like I'm here and people care, right? Like like she made comments about herself that she's like I know no one gives a shit about me.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that when she did that, I didn't like her. I just like Dan Harmon more.
I'm confused. I'm a little confused on the characters in this because they were hopping in and out of like what they were conceiving to be season 7. Like for instance, is Seth Green really in this show?
No, yeah.
Or was like that a sideways?
Yeah, that was just the thing.
That was okay.
It's not in the show at all.
That's amazing. Okay. The weird like improv class that was all these different like conceptual things that couldn't tell who was a character or not.
I mean, so the whole thing like at least wrapped up in it just like they spent like 75 to 80% of the show just running through each one of their like dreams or like thoughts of what season 7 would be.
Yeah.
Which, is like that's them kind of dealing with that they're moving on.
Yep.
And then also like, I mean, maybe I look too far, but it's like Dan Harmon's way of also dealing with the fact that the show's done as well. Kind of thing. Like, oh, we could do season 7, huh? Like, kind of thing.
Yeah, like what could we do with these characters?
And do that. And then...
And hashtag movie.
Yeah.
And then they...
That never happened.
And then they... Like, then the last part, it was just like... Annie and Abed left, and everyone else stayed, and it was mostly just making Joel, or Jeff be okay.
Yeah.
Because it's still about him
yeah.
in the end. So then he's just like, oh, I'm just going to be here, but I have these people. But instead of... I think it kind of made the transition to me. Joe, you can tell me from, like, thinking about this.
Yeah.
It kind of made the transition of, like, our group, we grouped in the study room in the community college, but we're done with that. And now we've made the transition to, like, friends in real life outside of the college, and now we meet at, because Britta has a bar, so now this is like our meeting place now.
Okay.
Like in a way, like and not in like a alcoholic sad way, but in like like this is where our friends are now kind of thing. Like they got it. Cheers.
Yeah.
They got it. Cheers.
Yeah.
That's kind of the hope for season 7. I mean, we never get to see what happens in season 7, but that kind of is what it alludes to is that we don't need the college to keep this circle going.
Mm-hmm.
We can just kind of be here and be friends.
Yeah. I have a couple just like random notes about the whole episode. I don't know if anyone else kind of like had random thoughts, but I have a bunch of random thoughts that I want to roll out for you guys. The dean, the dean guy.
Yeah.
Who number also I pointed this when we were watching it. The show started with him doing his speech outside, and then the very last show started with him doing
over the loudspeaker.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he wasn't really, he was saying welcome, you're welcome to the school, and then the last one was like school's done.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so those are great bookmarks.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I don't even know, that's not even a mark of a good writer. It's just a mark of like someone who just.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, because I'm not a good writer by any means, but I understand that like the bookmarks of the story, like the story needs to wrap up, and if it wraps up in a similar way that it started, then like it feels better, like it feels more homely, I guess. I don't know.
And that was kind of a trope of the show where it might start out with the dean doing an announcement over the loudspeaker about like, oh, like we're doing like a Valentine's Day thing, and it's Valentine's Day at Greendale, and that kind of leads into like the setting of the episode. So. It's kind of a common trope of the show.
White Claw. I will say
this
that
ad break brought to you by White Claw.
So I will say,
guys,
if we keep saying White Claw, they're never gonna actually sponsor us.
So, Dean guy was awesome. Did not expect that he'd like still be such a thing.
You thought,
let alone part of the gang.
You thought
he's
he was
like part of the gang in this.
Oh,
he also spends a lot of time in a diaper. For those of you at home who haven't, who are naughty and haven't watched the show with us.
Shape.
Yeah, really ripped.
Yeah,
really
weirdly
ripped.
in shape.
You know, actors, they gotta, they're going up for all kinds of roles all the time.
Like, there's like that skinny fat kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's like skinny in shape.
Yeah, skinny Jack.
He looks like a scrawny dude, and then he's like, there was like one or two like angles that I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Not nearly as jacked as Joel McHale.
Joel McHale is jacked.
I mean, like, the Dean was kind of like just outside of the main group character for the first few seasons, and then at the end when they started losing characters, then they kind of made him into a
season 4
character. Yeah, around.
Well, he's great.
So they made him a main character.
Okay. Oh, so he's like a main character for the last couple seasons?
Yeah, he's like part of the group for like.
I don't think I like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine that he was here for one episode, but that's because I only saw him for one.
Sure.
I thought he was good, like just kind of like I think he was like he should be. If there's 20 episodes in every season, he should be in 10 for about 2 minutes each.
Okay.
And I think that should have stayed like that.
He was probably in every episode for 2 minutes each.
I think that's perfect. Well, too much. But perfect time, perfect amount in episode, but too many episodes.
Okay.
It depends for me on when they lost Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Joe?
Which makes me so sad.
That was...
When did the Gambino write a new record and had to leave?
I believe that was the middle of season 5.
Okay. The middle?
Because he was all the way through season 4, and then,
was he like writing... Because he started writing for 30 Rock at some point.
That was even before Community that he's writing for 30 Rock.
That was?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, but then...
What can't he do?
Yeah, he decided he wanted to do... Challenge
Can't hang out with me. Challenge.
Come hang out with us.
Call me, Donald Glover.
Got a White Claw with your name on it.
Let's go do karaoke.
Donald Glover texts Dan Harmon, and you both can call me.
So yeah, they actually do a bit where like...
This cry for help isn't going to work out for me.
Kind of leading into predictions, the episode where Pierce dies, where Chevy Chase dies.
He died?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't predict he died.
I'm going to circle that one on my sheet here.
There's the episode where Pierce dies, and he like is having his like will read to the rest of the group by a lawyer, and he says to Troy that you need to like go and be a man, like, and make yourself of your own, and you need to sail around the world on like a ship called like the Childish Gambino or something like that. And so like that's like his like second to last episode on the show, and like they like he's gonna go sail around the world, and then like LeVar Burton happens to be on the boat and stuff like that. And that's where that ties in.
Oh.
I wrote down.
So-
I wrote down. Joe, could you describe to me the LeVar Burton joke?
Abed.
Yeah,
Abed
so-
says a joke about.
Yeah, like LeVar Burton is like friends with Pierce because Pierce is rich, and it blows Troy's mind because he grew up watching like Reading Rainbow and stuff.
Who didn't?
Yeah, exactly. So that ties into like Troy leaving is that he goes to sail around the world with LeVar Burton.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
One other thing, Joel McHale looks great with a beard on.
Oh, for sure.
He's got a good beard.
Yeah.
So he grows a good beard.
Yep.
And then Dan Harmon, correct me if I'm wrong, because there was and I think it was this episode. I just think I remember like the description of the outfit, but I think Annie's outfit that she was wearing, like the purple cardigan and the sundress that she was wearing, I think that was from a Harmontown episode. He had a guest who actually I think her name was Annie too.
Okay.
And she like loved Harmontown, and because Dan Harmon is such a saint among men, a wonderful human, like a gift.
You're really digging deep.
Call me Dan Harmon. That he they were talking about it, and like he was like, "What do you want Annie to wear? Like, you know, whatever. Like create whatever you want for Annie to wear." And then she like said like those things, or like they over the course of one or two episodes they kind of talked about it or whatever, and they did it. And I think the last episode when she was like, "Look at me, like I'm not too old to be wearing this. This is great. I look awesome." And it was like, number one, yeah, you do. And two, I think that was the outfit that Annie from Harmontown, like the guest from Harmontown, said to design for Annie in the show.
Okay.
So I think that was Annie's like outfit.
Okay.
So we'll never know until Dan Harmon calls me.
Never know.
Dan Harmon.
Find that episode again.
Yeah, no, Dan Harmon, FNL podcast at gmail.com.
Twitter.net.
I don't think I think he doesn't have a Twitter anymore.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't twat.
I'm
Twat.
pretty sure we follow it.
We follow Dan Harmon? We're following Dan Harmon
I'm
right
gonna
now.
look it up.
We can. Look it up.
I'm gonna look it up.
Look it up
Figure
and
this
You
thing.
can talk amongst yourselves.
look it up and assign our Twitter to Dan Harmon. In 6 weeks when this episode comes out.
Are we following just dead Twitter of Dan Harmon?
Well, I mean, he might have it. Maybe he doesn't use it anymore. He was just literally the other day in Harmontown. He was talking about how he gave up Twitter. Maybe he's back on it again. So call me.
No way to know. Let's dig at these predictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dig.
Let's dig. Because I feel like a lot of them are surprisingly right.
Oh, let's start with mine then.
Okay.
Based on surprisingly right.
Yeah.
No Allison Brie. No Allison Brie Larson.
Yeah, she's there. Yeah.
She was there.
Okay.
She was
Jimmy,
totally there.
Jimmy and me were both on that.
Wait, I said that?
You said she wasn't going to be there.
I said Britta?
No, you said Annie. No, Annie.
Oh, Annie.
And that was Allison Brie's character was Annie.
Oh, that's Allison Brie? I thought Allison Brie Larson.
No.
I thought that was Britta.
No, Britta's Gillian Anderson.
Well,
They're both there.
Wait, from X-Files?
So, Jillian Jacobs.
No.
Jillian Jacobs is
Yeah.
Britta.
Yeah.
Gillian Anderson is from fucking X-Files.
Gillian Jacob. Wait, who do?
Jillian Anderson.
Gillian Anderson is from the X-Files. Good sir.
I mean, I love the X-Files.
Also, Dan Harmon tweeted 8 hours ago. So, shut your damn mouth.
Could you tweet at him right now?
No. I'm not. I'm putting it away.
No, take it out. We're doing this live, not live. Live, not live. At Dan Harmon, we love you. We're making a podcast about you. Call me.
Call us now.
Yeah, okay.
And then
I'm working on
You
it.
can put my phone up. You can put my phone up in the DMs.
I'm gonna put...
when he adds us and we DM him.
Yeah, okay. I'm working on it.
All right, stop. Hey, Jimmy, we need to stay on task.
Predictions.
So finish the tweet, Jimmy.
Doing it.
Joel works at the school.
Okay, yes, and he's a professor of law at the school by the end of like season 5 or something.
Oh wait, so he actually did work at the school?
Oh yeah, he's a professor. He's a professor.
we were watching it.
It was not clear in that
It
episode.
wasn't clear in that episode.
But
It was
because
hinted at.
you would know.
It was clear at the he 100% worked at the school in a couple of the variants of the alternate reality.
Yeah.
So, but I just took them as full alternate realities.
Yep.
So I didn't understand that he actually worked at the school.
Yeah.
So wow, I was
Nailed
it.
You nailed it. Yeah.
And I'm gonna give I want to give myself a half point, but yeah, I guess we'll see. I will they won't they, but I was half right because it wasn't Britta, it was Annie.
So by the end, yeah, they're dealing more with the Annie thing, but in season 3, it is revealed that that Jeff and Britta have been having sex the whole time.
Well, duh.
And just kind of behind the scenes.
They're both super hot. Of course, they're banging.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun clip show episode, where they show clips that it's like a standard sitcom clip show, except the clips are from clips that we haven't seen before. They're just shot brand new clips to show in this clip show.
Rick and Morty just did that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, with Rick,
Dan Harmon, you're reusing stuff.
Morty's Mind Blowers. Yeah,
Call
exactly.
me. We gotta talk about this.
But yeah, there's a point where Abed is wait, now that I think about all these memories, Jeff and Britta have been having sex, and we just never noticed.
And does it make sense? If you rewatch the show, does it make sense? Could you see the signs of it, or
not necessarily?
Or was it they rewrote? It was
yeah, they reshot some scenes
self-imposed
from other episodes.
Self-imposed history.
Yeah. It's more like that.
The Star Wars new universe. We're gonna change stuff a little bit. But,
yeah, they kind of add new footage to kind of.
Did you see
deepen it?
Star Wars or Star Trek? LeVar Burton.
I
haven't been listening because I was tweeting Dan Harmon, but
where are we at on predictions?
So Pierce is dead, and I get a point for that. That's what I have understood so far.
So Pierce did die in either. It must have been season 3, I think.
Wow.
I'm almost mad about this because Jimmy's gonna get a point because you just know
Jimmy
things about
got
this.
a
It
point.
might have been 5, but
It's
they
fine.
they do a big thing where Pierce dies, and the study group has to answer a questionnaire from the lawyer in order to get their inheritance from Pierce, and everybody gets random things.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's cool. So for me though, I got 1.1. I got 1.5.
Okay.
I got my third. Will they? Won't they? I give myself a half. If you guys will agree with that.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
I mean,
we'll let
there's
the
things with
audience
Annie and there's
decide.
things with Britta.
0.33.
I think I only got 1 because I said Pierce is dead.
Yeah, I mean, which was
I said
correct.
Annie was abducted. Clearly not the case.
She works for the FBI.
Was hopeful.
Yeah, she was.
I said Jeff had graduated. I guess that's true, right?
Yeah, I don't remember a specific graduation episodes, but
he's teaching there.
He's teaching there.
I
and then
hope he has a degree.
I mean,
finished.
maybe he didn't. He at least doesn't go to school there anymore. I'll give it.
I definitely was wrong on Troy still there and making great nicknames for everyone.
No,
That's a
So
bummer.
that's a huge bummer for me.
Joe, what was his nickname game though throughout? Do you recall?
First episode alone,
there's a part where they introduce a character.
Slumdog Millionaire, he called Abed.
Yeah, you call him Slumdog. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That's low hanging fruit.
It is. but it
I'll
was
give
funny.
you maybe a quarter of a point for giving nicknames because there's an episode where they reference a character that they call Fat Neil, and they're like, why do we call him Fat Neil? Why can't we just call the other Neil Skinny Neil? And later you see Skinny Neil and he's black, and they're just like, oh, okay, we'll just call the other one Fat Neil.
You can call a black person skinny. That's fine.
Yeah. Sure.
I said on the lightning round, I don't know how we're pointing lightning round.
Yeah, I don't remember any lightning round things.
That there was no Greendale, that they'd moved on, which technically is true, sort of.
Greendale
because
still
they,
is a thing, but they have moved on.
They're at the Vatican,
I said
like
no
you said.
too. I said no too.
That John Oliver, I hope, was there but no, and he wasn't. Which makes me so sad.
I said cameo, and that was not it either.
Love John Oliver. And that Jeff, if his lawyer business was still going on, I said no, that maybe he'd be doing something else. You said teacher.
I said no, but he was mixed in with lawyer stuff, I guess.
He was a law teacher.
Somewhere in there, he had gone back to law for a little bit, and it just didn't work out. So he went back to Greendale. I think that might have been season 5.
But so, like, in the last episode, he didn't have anything to do with law anymore.
No, he was a professor at that point.
So I was right.
Yeah.
Because I was only going on last episode, not full season.
Right.
Was that it?
I think so.
I think that was it.
Joe, overall, are you a yay or nay for Community?
Oh man, I mean, so like when I was imagining, I hadn't seen the series finale in a long time, and I was imagining the series finale from either season. It must have been season 5 or something, where it was super goofy, and like they hint at like Jeff and Annie some more, which I didn't like. And so I remember
so hot though. It's perfect.
Yeah, but she's
Annie's
early
like
20s hot, and he's like
when the show starts, Annie's 18 and
really?
Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah, because like Annie and Troy are just coming out of high school. Annie, Troy, and Abed are just coming out of high school.
I guess that makes sense because they were talking about Troy High School and she went to high school with him. Okay.
And then Jeff is maybe late 30s, maybe 40.
He's like our age, I'm 32. And then if I went to community school and I was like next to the 18-year-old chick and I was trying to bang the 18-year-old girl.
They kiss at the end of the season 6 finale, and I was still a little uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I was fine with it.
Yeah, of course you were.
But, I mean, it's not a morality contest.
There's so
you going to jail for that.
At the end of season 1, I remember like I was at the gym like running on the treadmill,
working hard
on the treadmill.
Iron.
We call him Hard Bod Joe.
And like this is at the point where like they still had like TVs at the gym, like that you could just like plug in your headphones into if you want to listen to audio.
You make it sound like they took all the TVs out of the gym.
Well, no, now they have all the TVs on the machines and not just like.
Oh right.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were like the one when they used to have TVs in the gym. He goes to a post-apocalyptic gym.
So I was like listening to my jams and I was like watching Community without sound, and at the end of the season 1 finale, like Jeff and Annie kiss, and I'm just like, where the hell did that come from? Which is like a weird thing, and then they kind of don't address it, and then like later in season 2, or I think it's season 3, where they find out that like Jeff had sex with Britta and like had kissed Annie. And Troy says, he has this line where he goes, like, what the hell? Like, you kissed Annie and then, like, had sex with Britta? Like, when there's 3 donuts, you can't just eat one and then lick another. I thought was, like, one of the funniest things I'd ever heard. Which is all to say,
Donald,
we
love you.
There's stuff going on in the show.
I mean,
what were we talking about?
Whether or not you're yay or nay for Community. Obviously, you're yay.
Because you've seen it multiple times.
It just, the finale that I thought leaned more into the Jeff, Annie stuff, but watching it again now, that it really wasn't that. It was kind of just like a weird Dan Harmon, like, exploration into what TV can and should be. And I thought it was a perfect ending to this show, like, for what they can do with it. Like,
but it was a good exploration. It was like if you kind of understand who the writer is in a way, like you understand kind of what they're doing. But like if you just you don't get it. Like, you know, if you're just like Big Bang Theory fan number 1, like, you know, and you're just like, I like it when the nerds talk. Like, you know, you're just a consumer of sitcoms. Like, you just kind of go like, that was just a good episode of TV with any overlaying anything. And then, like, kind of maybe knowing more about that stuff, you can see the other things around it. And you're like, oh, he's questioning TV in general in a way. And, like, exploring the future of what could be and just being like, well.
Fun.
Yeah, it was very true to the show's character. And it did kind of lend a finality to it that, like, it didn't feel like he was teasing us for season 7. It felt like he was saying, you know what, season 7 is not going to happen, but here's what could kind of be fun if that would happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm totally yay Community. I have 8 more seasons of Frasier to watch, though. So I'm not yay Community yet. But like, I mean, it's funny because I've probably seen like 5 or 10 episodes of Community, but I think tonight was the first time I actually really paid attention to Community.
Okay.
And so with that, I'm like, wow, yeah, this is a good show, and it's got a lot of good tones underneath it. Like, you know, it's just a good, entertaining show. Just in that's it. But it's like character building. You immediately care about those characters, and watching only 2 episodes, I immediately cared where they were going, and then I cared how they ended up, and like cared about what they were doing. You know. Like, I give a shit that Andy's going to, like, the FBI, and I have no idea how she ended up there. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, like...
Yeah.
But, like, so I'm super yay on this. The one thing I'm learning about First and Last is I don't think this ruins TV. I think it might ruin some sorts of TV.
It's a time saver.
It's a time
saver. You know... You learn which shows you want to watch, which shows you don't want to waste your time on.
I think it's working very well. It's not like, I mean, but maybe it's only because of, once again, like the 2 shows that I'm that's the word.
Donald.
I'm bigly emphatic on is Frasier and Community. Though I think those are my 2 faves so far, and I mean, coincidence or not, potentially that they're both just like sitcoms.
Sure.
But they're not but they're also just like super. They're well written.
Yeah, they're very well.
So I don't know whether or not they're like it's because they're sitcoms or because it's just like legitimately that's just a coincidence, or it's because they're just really well written shows that also happen to be just funny. Like
can't hurt.
Like you can't deny that at least.
I'm for sure a yay on Community. I think except for Jeff, except for Joel McHale, which I don't know. I haven't fully bought into him yet, and maybe actually getting into it will get me there, but I do love Dan Harmon. I just really started to watch Rick and Morty from the beginning. I love Donald Glover. I just started to watch Atlanta. It's so freaking amazing. If you guys haven't watched that yet.
Mm-hmm. You've seen the National Lampoon's Vacation movie.
Yeah, and I just love
You've heard of
Chevy. I watched all the original SNL stuff that he did.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
But no, I mean, I think a lot of these things from Community carry over into Rick and Morty, where it's they play with the format a lot, but even when they're playing with it and they're doing weird things, like it's still very true to the characters. The thing that stays constant is the characters and who they are, and then it just puts them in these weird situations,
right?
Whether it be sci-fi or something weird, or just like different TV tropes. Like that's something that Dan Harmon sticks to. Is it has to be about the characters and how they relate.
Which sounds like, I mean, it makes sense because, like, if you see, there's some TV shows that, like, have weak characters and they try to change things a lot, and it doesn't work out because then when you take weak characters and move them into unfamiliar settings, it's, like, shitty. But then if you take really strong characters and you, like, time warp them from present day to medieval times, if, you know, if something like that happens, like, say, to these community people.
I've seen Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure.
But, like... Yeah, and like Keanu Reeves is such a strong character. But if you take like these strong built characters that I like
the one character that he does,
I'm 108 episodes out of you know that I haven't seen, but I know that these are strong characters, so they could go anywhere, and as long as the characters stay strong like that, then they could be doing anything or in any situation, and it would fit within the story. or fit within the show at least. It wouldn't be like jarring or terrible.
So we'd said something about like Dan Harmon like having like a live action Rick and Morty and what that would be like, and it, like if people maybe like hate that. I thought like during the season 6 finale, this was like a Rick and Morty like live action kind of like where like at first it was almost kind of jarring. Like I had a hard time following a little bit when they're in and out of like the different like what one person's concept of season 7 would be, because it was like really obscure and took me a second to like for my brain to catch up. Which is like also how I feel like watching Rick and Morty. But like I was like, and then I was like, this is Rick and Morty live. But then once my brain caught up, I was like, this is so fun and smart at the same time and just awesome.
It is good, but you couldn't have 7 seasons of that last episode of that show. It wouldn't work out.
You probably couldn't have
it
a
was
whole
time
nother
for
season of that.
sure.
And that's what people would hate live Rick and Morty.
And that's why Dan Harmon is such a genius. Call Josh.
Hashtag call Josh, trending, #1 trend on Twitter. Day this comes out.
You can't just say that it's trending. That's not how it works.
The tweet, whatever, that when our Twatterbox says that we have an episode out, it's gonna say new episode, first and last Harmon, no community is out. Hashtag call Josh, #1 on the Twatterbox.
I got nothing.
All right. Well, with that, I guess. I mean, is there any last interjections that we want, or Joe? How about you just bring us to a close, just with some more praise or something, I don't know, or last thoughts. I just think you got more to say, but just close this out for us.
I mean, it had its highs and lows, and it's the greatest show ever, you know?
Is that what you believe? It's the greatest show ever?
Maybe not the greatest show ever, but it's my favorite show ever, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of a show that... Maybe like Breaking Bad, I thought was really great too, but that's kind of a different kind of show. But like, this just was so rich. And it didn't hit every episode. There were episodes that I just like really hated that I just didn't think that they like nailed it on, or they tried too hard to do a thing. But they're like, just overall, it was just like really enjoyed these characters and like the different situations that they were put in, and that's all you really want from a TV show, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Annie or Britta?
I'm a Britta. Personally, Britta all the way.
Britta episode 1, Annie season episode last.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That's like, you know,
because watching this pilot again, I was like, Britta looks great. Annie does not in this pilot.
Well, she was like really
she's not
she was
supposed to.
built as a crazy girl in the first one, like too
Crazy,
and she's definitely better, like mentally.
White girl.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I would pick Annie final episode.
Okay.
Overall.
Okay.
Jamie.
Where's Brie Larson in this?
Hey, fun fact.
She's
going to be Captain Marvel.
Fun
Dan
fact
Harmon,
though
I know
about
you
Brie Larson
Marvel
that I just
movies.
remembered is that Brie Larson actually shows up in like season 3 or
No.
3 or so, and she's Abed's love interest.
Yes.
Well, of course Abed would love her, but does she love Abed?
No, it's the opposite way, where like she totally loves Abed, but Abed's like kind of playing her off.
That makes me want to watch the show even more. Have you seen Room?
No.
The movie that she won an Oscar for?
The Room?
The Room. Room? Whichever.
I just remembered now that
It's
Brie Larson
really
is
good.
in it, and yeah, she plays this like nerdy girl that's like into Abed, and like the friends.
I love
are, like,
Brie
trying to tell
Larson.
him, like,
All right, well, I guess we'll see you guys next week when we watch season 3 of Community.
Brie Larson or last.
And
Brie Larson and last.
We totally rename the show.
Well, with that, guys, you can hit us up on Twitter at FNL Podcast. And if you have any suggestions, tweet at us, or you can email us at fnlpodcast@gmail.com. And with that, we are out, and we will see you next week for another First and Last. Have a good one, guys.